Doje Shaja Razandra, Jinja Mado Deja Ponjamba, Sergio Lombo Dabre Jibaga, Shaja Jabe Jadungu Zanzar, Dorjan Janja Dello Narota, Maba Mela Chuje Gamboba, Bamodaba Jawan Dogongba, Kaju Lama Namje Dajo, Danandana Sera Tamje Lama Laba Laye Jisu. Lao Zong Yong Den Jam Zong A La Wan Den Zhe Dong Jian Zhe Ba Ge Le Zo Gang Ge Den Jian Zhe Wan Jiong Ga Ba Me Ba Jie Me Ba Qi Ba Me Ba Dai Me Ba Wan Me Ba Ru Me Ba Da De Do Me Dong Jie Me Zhu Ba Ye Xie Xie Den Ba Zo Ba Zang Jie Ma Nan Jie Dong Ba De La Zhang Zar Du Dagelo Chuzon Rovar Jinja Labdosur Chia Lamdun Rovar Jinja Labdosur Lam Drova Javara Jinja Labdosur Drova Yizan Javara Jinja Labdosur Jinja Zava Lama Jaja Kuzon Toja Jilan Dada Dage Julan Ped Daga Damba Dan Sunja Jadon Jajambon Rabar Jinja Labdosur Samala Shopadele Tini Tereng Aran Soke Shiate Tini Lodo Namba Yi Nange Tini Nipa Teri Tela Tini Ning Metuje Metze Yun Tong Yu Zamde Domi Jabeleji Sed Pang Songri Tani Tikapsu Da Chitang Matapate Tiong Yuri Tani Matapate La Chitang Karang Kazang Aranzoke Tamjerni Parkawa Tini Shubarwa Tamjerni Parkawa Te Tamjer Tini Parkawa Reis Ina yang Aranzoke Tarati ke Tamjerni Parkawa Te Top Yures Top na yang Te Matabaris Tini te Kandachen Matabaris and that in Matune Shokuyobare.
So before I begin with the translation, I just would like to let you know that it seems like the connection is not as good today because Khenpo is kind of cutting out more frequently. So one thing I'd like to request for the people who are using the Wi-Fi, if people could like take the Wi-Fi off of their devices, maybe put them in airplane mode, maybe that will help because I know we've done that here and it's been helpful. So maybe that would help a little bit if possible. Thanks. So first of all, Khenpo would like to say good morning to all of you. And to pick up today where we left off yesterday, we were discussing the four thoughts that turn the mind, and now we have reached the second of the four thoughts, and this corresponds with in the text with regard to the 10 causes of the 10 causes of loss. Then it is the third, and so the third, it says to waste this short human life of the Kali Yuga, or the degenerate age, and worthless activities is also a great loss to this rare human life. And so this is addressing the contemplation of impermanence in the context of the four thoughts that turn the mind. And so generally, yesterday, we went over the first of the four thoughts, which is, the difficulty of achieving a human rebirth complete with leisures and endowments. And so we've reflected upon just how difficult it is to achieve a human birth. And also in our own cases, we can reflect upon the fact that we have this incredible situation in which we have achieved a human birth so difficult to obtain. And yet, even though we have achieved a human birth, which is so rare, a precious human birth, it will not last for very long because it is pervaded by the nature of impermanence. This occasion in which we have a precious human birth is impermanent in nature.
Tene sanje chomdin de tene ke tambo kong ke jersey la so patan ju lu tang ne tene Impermanence ta peggondo samya ke
chegire drin karina. Hello?
Gondwe.
Hello? Yeah, maybe Christina text message Tango said it.
Tachik sink doe.
Okay, young char go to. So Sanjay Chomdin de go song.
Ta sanje chomdin de ge Tomar jersey lu tang ya ke lu tang de tene Impermanence chu doblan rogondo samya ke samno deang tene Tomar de mata ba de ha ko batoni tene kon samno de chongwarwa samno de korwarwa tene ta jersey la so ba ta nga thang la so ba ta tomjer la so ba chama mata barindo njuro ran yin chi rindo tela danjin chimbo je tanda che na tela himbo hira mado samne kong te ha ko rwa te ha ko ne tene kong ta ne wimba la tene nyamlin chi la phegdo tene dungar sewa te karin bangu hi la ngo hi gondo samya ga samno te tomar kong la mata ba gndu hi yo ba ti tonin chungare tene sanje chumdin de kong ke tene dimba yi chu chung kholo dambo goren de yang tene duje tamje mata ba song ne tene kong ke tig tonin song yo ba re tendu tene ti chi cho tene pangum papa ludup keang tene ta ngarang cho zambeling de gangla tene chi charne zonte jewa chi yun zonte tene chewa la ya de yore se tene chi sin zonte tene ma shba je saten lu de ba je suche yo mares tene churang ke tanra ji yo ba ko song he yang na churang ke yu da mi da nyam te chom sa han do e song do wa go bo lo ge yo ane te ga na yin ke tene ta lama ge bi shi ni chu yang da ba dung ke chama ke senang la mata ba nyam ke sam no ndu hi de yo ba re te ndu sanji chom din de ke yang ndu hi nang ge cho de jir ba ne mata ban de hi de yin so ma re
Su pare tu she chok de biro.
Duhi mambo yora nga son duhi sta samno drama ra mambo yore to son samno chodo jirbate ta mata ba hako ya samno tere son re tomar
Su song
sanjek
Sanjegi. Okay. Okay, so I apologize because the connection is really quite unstable today. It's cutting in and out, so it's making it difficult to follow everything that Khenpo is saying. But I will try my best. First, when the Buddha first developed the intention, or when he first decided that he had to leave the palace and give up the life of, his luxurious life as a prince and go to solitary places, to retreat to solitary places in order to discover the truth, in order to awaken or become free. This was first initiated by his understanding of the truth of impermanence that arose for him. And so realizing in a visceral way that all phenomena are the nature of impermanence, understanding that there is nothing that can be clung to in this life because it is all pervaded by the nature of impermanence. The kingdom, his wealth, all the wealth and enjoyments, youth in his very body, all of this has no lasting nature. And so realizing that, he decided to leave it all behind and to instead to dedicate himself to the practice of Dharma. And so in this process, he saw very clearly that everything is the nature of change. And so therefore, there's no point in just holding to the ordinary attitudes of self-clinging, because they really, everything that is this clinging, or the fixation, the attitude of fixation based on self-clinging, really has no point, because everything lacks real essence. And so it was this that caused him to instead devote himself to the path of practice. And this also, this realization, this understanding of the pervasive nature of impermanence, also led him to his discovery of the Four Noble Truths. And so when he turned the first wheel of Dharma, and in which he taught the Four Noble Truths, within that he also taught that the nature of all compounded things is impermanence. Likewise, the great exalted Nagarjuna explained that whosoever is born in this world, it is an absolute certainty that the final destination for them is death. Whatever it is that arises also must come to an end. And so for anyone who is born, there is the certainty of eventual death. And then he asked, of everyone who was born over 100 years ago, is there anyone, have you ever heard of anyone, have you ever seen anyone who still remains, who was born in former generations? Is there any doubt about the certainty of death? And so likewise, all of the great, or all spiritual teachers, they emphasize the importance of reflecting upon or contemplating the truth of impermanence. The Buddha himself has said that of all the perceptions that one can hold, the most superior, the most supreme of all perceptions is the perception of impermanence.
Tene Rogong Chopan Jitin Sungong Kejang Tene Te Sonre Tene Jonga Yella Trebe Tarangara Soka Lunda Tene Dala Tene te mata parang jiris. Te mata parang yin ba tela Japan ke te tapa timba ni de zoto kumando. Top dan gosa ke te tapa de timba ni de zoto kumando. Te ndu ngaran so ke tata ke zo ngaran so ke zo nzipo. Kanda yo ba yin yang.
Gongta Khenpo Cheson.
Tene tara
De Cheson de.
Tata ngarang chola zong zipo kanda yoba ina yang tene te ngarang cho tungka ke namdi tungka ke meto na jiris choksam nyeng jepo yorite tene to tsam rite yang ko pa mi pa chang ro ris te endu ta zong zipo tang nyeng jepo kanda yo na yang te sola nyingpo jing yo mare song mare.
Yeah, so likewise, Lord Jigten Sungun said that this body since it is comprised of the 4 elements, it is the nature of impermanence. It is subjected to or pervaded by the nature of impermanence. And likewise, all the attributes that one can acquire in this life are subject to impermanence. No matter how much wealth and enjoyment that one surrounds oneself with how powerful one or renowned one becomes, even in this very body. So having a beautiful form is as unstable as an autumn flower. So it will only last for a very short time. Beauty is passing. It is very elusive, and then it only stays for a very short time. So whatever beauty or attributes of one's body that might currently be experienced, it's only a passing. It's only there for a passing moment. That it's like an autumn flower, as insubstantial or as unstable as an autumn flower. Mini?
Das sanje chumdin dene zonte tene maranso lama gevishini parde dangwa thamche kenang de zo chehyu da matabako dangwa be mambo yobare ti dangwa ngaranso ke mambo tu yobare ta tu charpe ode da ngaranso ke nyamni chi go yorwa ta mataba de nyamni kanda chi go yori shubayena tene tarha ngaranso ke tangbo de la da chetnu gen jiktin la sam ne mataba gomba song yori tene niba de la nangju ji simjin la megne mataba gomba song yori ten de tambo chetnu gen jiktin la samte mataba gomba te kandari shubayena ta ngaranso perna namdu yala chan sumbayena ta iyaka ke ngotang metodang tanda mangbo che njorwa chinde yang tungka te kado de njorwa chindo ho yobare tungka ke metodang zihen la so ba mangbo che tene njorwa chinde te gungka kapso tini mi ba chando ko yore yang gungka tini mi ba ke ngo jangko la so ba kado tamche yang jiga ya je yong go yore ta tenda san du yela san ta ma na jobran yin jin re ma do ke takpa tim ba garan yin je mai ba tenda ben sam no ta ne gong go yore teni diga na yin ke ta jungwa ye de ke chu mun chu la ta ba yin na Teni tsam sayom dang tsam lung chop dang teni tsam deana yinke to dang serva dang chulo dang o tela soba ke meda la soba ke tine teni ngama yoba ke ngubo mangbo che lower temi pa chang ro ko yore o tenala samno tang andu teni ngarang so chnu kinjiktin la samno tama ina yang chnu kinjiktin la samno tama ina yang mata pari mato ke takpa che yo mare njobaran yinchin ri mato ke menjobaran yinchin che mare o ta te rim mata ba tanda ben ngarang so ke mentune gongo yore tela rakpa mata pa shokho yore
Um, from the time of the Buddha all the way to till now, throughout the lifetimes and teachings of many great masters, of all the pith instructions and teachings that have been taught, it is often said that the most important are the pith instructions or teachings on impermanence. And so we have heard the teachings on impermanence many times, but having heard them, then it's necessary to put them into practice, to really reflect upon them and bring them into our practice. And so the way that we first reflect upon impermanence is by contemplating the impermanence of the outer vessel or the outer container, which is this universe or the world. And secondly, then we contemplate the impermanence of the inner contents or sentient beings. And so how can we reflect upon the impermanence of the world or the outer container? We can begin by thinking about or contemplating and paying attention to the changes, the constant and very drastic changes that occur throughout the 4 seasons in our environment. So we see that during the summertime, there are, depending on where you are, but often there's an abundance of flowers and everything is green. And then gradually, as summer changes into fall, the colors start to change and leaves start to fall. And then as autumn or fall turns into winter, then eventually everything completely dies. There are no longer any leaves, or perhaps everything becomes blanketed in snow. And then as the winter turns into spring, then it starts to warm up and then buds start to appear and grass starts to grow and things become very green and vibrant and perhaps flowers start to bloom. And so we have this display of impermanence that is manifesting around us at all times in a very noticeable way through the changes of the 4 seasons. And likewise, we can see a very, the sudden impermanence when different, when natural disasters strike, such as earthquakes or tornadoes, hurricanes or wildfires. And so in a single instant, just all of a sudden, everything can change when we have a situation like a natural disaster that occurs. And so in this way, we can contemplate the coarse or gross impermanence of the outer container, the world, or the outer container or vessel that is this universe or the world.
Tene nangju ji semjin la samno tangwa ina tene tambo ngaran soke per na ngo hipa ngô hiba gatse jitin de ne ka chan ro chu pena churang tang chongba chongba jigba hlobja jigba tanda gatse ta jitin de ne ka chan ro te na yin ke churang ke abata amne te na yin ke robo de romo gatse za ka chan ro 다 대 탐지 조버랑 yin bi jimsin chi tene churang da ka tan ro yo bare mata parang yin bi jimsin chi tene ka tan ro yo bare tene da soso rang ke che samno tam ba yena da soso chung kapse soso la kanda yo ba tene da soso la kanda yo ba tene chung kap dang da de kap la njwa kare chin ya tene njwa te kare chin chin baris na mata ba seba te imbe jimsin ke njwa sin soare tene tan soso ke tra tang trai kado la so ba tamje la njwa chin ke yore tene te kare chin ke yore sina ko mata ba imbe jimsin ke chin te njwa ndo yore 다 tenda 인도 다 ngaranso 다 충충 감니 zonte 다 ngaranso che reng reng de rondo gam tene ngaranso chewala ta nyer rondo tenda besam no tanga yore 다 chewala ta reng de ro ko yoba yina tene ngaranso ke chendi tondala tene kable mambo ja drandor ni chung tanda keta leka ledena mandik ba yo mare te yin yang ngarang so nima tang nima tutsu la ngarang so chewa la ta nyer ro ko yo re ya chewa la ta nyer ro ko yo ba yin na te jimsin kare chin ro ko yo re sna mata pe yin be jimsin ke chewa la ta nyer ro ko yo ba re per na tanang 쇼바 쇼장 통기 진 Khenpo Tenzin de tata teni kachi hien kin jin Khenpo Tenzin de lan jura chin simbare tanang 쇼장 통 도킹 kin Khenpo Tenzin de mata bare karsi te takpa ena tin takpar 쇼장 통 de sa chigla de go rwa te tata 쇼장 통기 진 Khenpo Tenzin de karsong yo mare ngaran choge namju tanang hyogjan thong dong gi Khenpo Tenzin te ta kachi hien do gi Khenpo Tenzin jor song rawa ta te mata be yin bijam sin jire
So mitse kala de chik che song de chiwa ta niru yongi obage sungwai kala tene kale ngato mitse gangla kale ka da du dang shimba che la lap song
teni robo tromo tamche la dang tasola ropa chi ra tamche la pa nu ji tongda tere
Dini di dang de mitapa ki jawa kare
te karsi takpa yin ngarang tanda leka le de nan de ke yorwa ina mata pa yin bijim sin ke teni ngarang tanda leka le na nimpo mandawas
so then when we contemplate the impermanence of the inner contents or sentient beings, so we can, this is also easy to recognize when we look at the nature of our, like all of the different people that we have had in our lives at different times and so forth. So we have our, first when we're younger, and we have neighbors and friends, and we go to school, and we have all of our classmates. But then eventually all of these people that we have, shared time and space with at different times of our lives, we've also parted from them. We've all dispersed and gone our separate ways. Often, everyone separates from one another, and that is always the eventual outcome, regardless, because of the truth of impermanence as it manifests in death. So our aunts and uncles, our friends, male and female friends and companions, they're all of our relatives and acquaintances. They are all the nature of change. Our relationships are all the nature of change. And so impermanence is expressing itself all of the time. And so also, if we think about ourselves and how much we have changed already throughout our lives, how different we are now from how we were when we were a small child. Every aspect of how we appear in the world has changed. Our body and our situation, and why does so much change occur in such a constant and pervasive way? It is because of impermanence, because of the fundamental truth of impermanence. If we look at our hair changes color. Why does our hair change color? Because of impermanence. When we're young, from the time we're young, then we start to grow old, and as time passes and it continues to pass, then our life is not getting longer and longer. It's getting shorter and shorter. And so we know that with every passing moment, we're actually getting just closer and closer to death. And so if it were the case that our life were getting longer, then all of these worldly activities that we spend so much time, energy, effort, and resources in trying to preserve might make sense if it were the case that our life were getting longer. But since it's the case that actually our life is only very quickly getting shorter, that we're very rapidly approaching death, then so many of our hardships, all of the ways that we struggle to acquire worldly aims and benefit, what we, our efforts to be victorious over enemies, and our all of the lengths and difficulties that we go to acquire wealth and renown and so forth. All of this because all of our efforts to please friends and companions, or all of this, it really is kind of fruitless or meaningless when we think about how quickly this life will be exhausted, that we're really just moving closer and closer to the time of our death. And so why is this the case, that we are approaching closer and closer? Every day we're coming closer to our death because of impermanence, because of the truth of impermanence. And on every day we experience countless unfoldings, immeasurable unfoldings of impermanence. So for instance, the Khenpo Tenzin who ate breakfast this morning is different from the Khenpo Tenzin who is now giving teachings. If this weren't the case, then he would still be the Khenpo Tenzin who was eating breakfast this morning. That would be frozen in time. But because he can, this morning he was eating breakfast, and now he is here giving us Dharma teachings, this is possible because of the truth of impermanence.
Khenpo Tenzin ke saya ke hyogja te matapare Karsi te takpa ina teni Khenpo Tenzin ke Ningong hila sago marwa. Tani ina yang ko yang te sama te yang mata be imbe junsin ke teni yang Ningong ke kala sago yorwa. O te la soba ke ngaran so ke ten soso ke teni samno te ma hevre tangdu ta kechik la samno tangna teni kechik tambo kechik nipa kechik sumba tege tamche yang kechik nipa kapsu kechik tambo te mataba re nga simba re kechik sumba kapsu kechik nipa te nga simba re ta tenra yendu ngaran so chuchu karma karcha re nana yang ko mataba ke rangin yinba tenra men teni hako te hako de teni soso la chowa de je 다 초와데 제네 되니 당아랑서 추게와 드발라 되니 중르 지트바 tanda yungare ngunge gebishini nambata nyamni nanki tamjege ta mata baken tsola mata baken dushiti yobare te indi ta koran soke chamdrupa nyamni lateni zunru chuo ge juna yin nang to ko yore gain sina kong namba ge mata ba ha ko yore mata ba ha ko na yontin chimbo yore ngarang so gewa drpa la yang zunru chi ala yang pindo chimbo yobare.
So. And so also because of impermanence, the breakfast that Khenpo Tenzin ate this morning is also impermanent. If it weren't impermanent, then there would be no need to eat lunch. But because it's impermanent, then the breakfast that was eaten this morning is no longer available. It's no longer present when it is time to eat lunch. And so for that reason, because of impermanence, then even though we breakfast, then shortly after that, again, we have to eat lunch. And so we can think about things, our experience in this way, really bringing our awareness to the signs of impermanence to a more and more refined or to a level of greater and greater detail, so much so that eventually we will become aware of momentary impermanence, moment to moment changes that occur. And so we have the first moment and the second moment and the third moment. And in these split moments, in the first and the second moment, the phenomena of the first moment is gone. And in the third moment, the phenomena of the second moment has changed. So we can actually witness the functioning of impermanence on such a profound, at such a profound level, or in such a kind of detailed and momentary way. And if we understand impermanence like this, then there will be real feeling that arises, or we'll really understand it in a very visceral way, in a way that has feeling. And if we really have the feeling, if we practice in such a way that the feeling arises, then we'll be really moved or inspired to practice Dharma. This will give us a real boost or in our diligence. This will really help to support diligence, the perception of impermanence. Anyone who has the perception of impermanence, for staying in retreat, for instance, for a retreatant who holds the view of the perception of impermanence, then they're assisted in their practice by a sense of a very strong diligence. So the deep understanding of impermanence aids to strengthen diligence. there are great qualities, many great qualities that develop from truly understanding or deeply understanding the truth of impermanence. And among these different qualities, one of these such qualities is that one develops really very strong diligence, and one feels inspired to not let this life go to waste, to not even let a moment go to waste, but to really dedicate oneself in every moment to Dharma practice.
Tevena sanje ke duhi nang ken chod jurbate mata ban duhi songre. Tela pe kare ya yorsina ji nang ken chod jurba lambo che ke ji de songre. Teka nandong kare re huba ina ta lambo che ke ji de ne ngarang so lambo che ke ji de ne ro ina tene lambo che te sacha te sa ninka misa tendani rogori madok ren tumbo tang tene jar tang yang sa chimbo yo sa tendan rogo marwa ti na yin ke ngarang chola mata ba kan du hi yo ba yena tene ti ton du hi ti ton ne tene gewa kang dro ba yena ya ngarang chola norsa ta korsa yo mare sonre
Kumta de Sanjay ge de lungting garere lampoche ge je de yangcherson
lambo che ke
metapa
ngarang cho ke lambo che ji lambo che ke ji ora footprint Take jit ro and teni sacha de ninka hira mi sa tanda sacha langaranzo.
no de kumta de kosong
Tene
de kosong de dampo ge sung de metapa nangshin de lampoche ge je de yapoko masong kumta dingamendo konyong yenyang de tata dingamendo
mata pa ngaranzo la mata pa kan du hit samno yu bo thoni teni gewa kang droba yin yang teni tela norsa tang trsa yo mari sin norwa tang tra yo yong yo mari sonre. Tela nontor
de lampoche ge je nangshin
Jina yita ngarang so mata pa ke du hiti toni gewa domna teni gewa ti yanda cha de yoris.
Awesome. So as the Buddha taught that among all the different types of perception, or among all sort of Dharma perceptions that one can have, the most superior is the perception of impermanence. And so as long as if one really has a deep perception of impermanence, then all of whatever virtue that one engages in will be perfect virtue. There's no risk of any error, or no risk of one's virtue actually falling into delusion. Just as among all footprints, the footprint of the elephant is the greatest or the most supreme, and that the elephant having the great footprint, an elephant doesn't go to dangerous places. So an elephant doesn't walk, for instance, on very sort of high mountain peaks, or along perilous, or by along the edge of perilous cliffs, or areas where he could fall, a far distance. And so in the same way, when there is this perception of impermanence, then there's no fear of going astray. There's no risk of falling off track or going astray.
Tene tata ngarang so nima nga do tsu labre nima nga tawa nima nyumo nima tse nima karwa nima tu nima ase tene tatandra ke
Yachar
tara
nima nga yachar sunda
tawa nima rwa
tawa
Teni nyumong nima. Nyumong nima. Teni tse nima. Teni karpa nima. Karpa zambo de ngimba la kondwa. Tegi karpa. Teni tu nima. Tutsu. Ta tendra ke nima nga do tutsu sa per na tse nima hiba tonda kan hiba ina. Ngaran zola chivichi ne na tsa gji na mang ro yo pare. Ngaran zon chowa ta tse rengwen tunji ne nyong ro yo pare. Teni nga xe ke lakwe yore sanje ke chu na tse nima lamdowa tse nima re ma ma so tse reng ro do lakwe do ka xe ke. Te koran zo san no tonda je ke toni lakwe yore de yin yang tse nima hiba tonda ka re sina ngaran zo la jin parche mang ro du teni tse de jikding di gang la yun ring bo de ya la teni parche de mang ro yo bu jim sing ke sung ko yore. Per na tate tutsu la per na nam de je ke ma ka che se ndo. Bom tab je jo je ke ma ka che se ndo. Na cha nguma meng zang ya me be na cha ke ma ka che se ndo. De la so ba de sam no tang ba yin na teni da tse ni ma yin sa ri so yin sa ma ri teni ran thu go wa. Sanje ke da la gon teni tse ni ma song yo wa. Yin da par ya ta no so so ke jin cho bu tun jin de jor de ba ke se de sa ma mi la so ba tham je jang cham chang teni so ju ba ke jin lan jor de wa. Teni ta tela so ba ke teni tara tu ni ma la ngarang zo teni tse ni ma la go yo ke jim sin de cha de yo wa. Ten de ta je ngarang zo ke che tsen da la shin ba da chak ba chimbo je de na pin thon do we. Tele da je che sema ke che thori dang tarba dang tham jin chin ba lam la ro to ya ke teni tara ngarang zo la tunjin chimbo yo ba de be ju dang ne teni gang to to ge gewa drum ne ya ge ma re we sam ne teni so la kulong ji so la den da be ne lap ja te ne teni be zon ang go yo ba re.
And so, as it says in the text, it mentions this. It calls this life one of the Kali Yuga, or essentially a life during the time of the degenerate age. And so, when the five, when speaking about the time of degeneration, there are the 5 types of degeneration during the period of Kali Yuga. And so these are 1, the degeneration or deterioration of the view. 2, the degeneration with regard to the afflictions. So the afflictions become stronger. 3, there is the degeneration of lifespan, or the lifespan becomes shorter. 4th, there is deterioration or degeneration of fortune, or good fortune. And 5th is the deterioration or degeneration of the time. And so, for example, during the time of degeneration, and as the period of degeneration increases, then there are more illness. Beings of the time are more afflicted by illness. There is less sustenance to survive on, or less less nutrition and sustenance. And the lifespan of beings is said to decline during the period of degeneration. Sometimes people will respond to this and say, but this can't be right, or this isn't right, because the lifespan of beings is actually getting longer, and beings are living for longer and longer periods of time, or longer and longer lifespans. But this isn't, and one doesn't have to necessarily think about it like that. But if one thinks about it in the sense that there's an increase of conditions that could cause an obstacle to lifespan. So there are many more obstacles or dangers. So for instance, with cars and airplanes, if a single airplane crashes, everybody on board dies. How many people die in car crashes or plane crashes with really powerful weapons such as bombs? How many people can be killed by the explosion of a bomb, or through various exposures to chemicals and so forth, and kind of the increase of harmful chemicals and substances. Likewise, there are periods of epidemics such as this one where never seen before illnesses appear, and how many people can die from those illnesses or epidemics. And so likewise, there are many conditions in which things that are supposed to serve as a source of sustenance or survival, such as food and medicine, can actually become the very substance that contributes to our demise. And so these are the kind of things that the Buddha is referring to when he speaks of the degeneration of lifespan during the Kali Yuga, or the time of degeneration. And so I think keeping this in mind, then there really isn't much point in having too much attachment to this life. What is the benefit of really clinging so much to this life? And is it not better to really put our efforts toward Dharma practice and wholesome endeavors, so that we can continue the pursuit to liberation and full awakening in future lives, with liberation and full awakening in mind? Is it not more productive to focus our energies on our spiritual practice, on really practicing virtue? So with that in mind, when we contemplate in that way, this can also help to generate a sense of urgency and a determination to really devote ourselves to the path of practice, because that is really the only thing which is truly meaningful.
Tenin tam matabari lam duyang che hinang rawo je korne tanda chike yo mare ngarang zu che de matabari labdu o ta jiwa shima la tene nyawa zu hinang chawo je le jin ro yo ba yeda don lam ne hinang chawo je le lu le jin ro yo ba ta te chupo sung yo ba mare ta ngarang chola tara 산지 그 저 데킹bo 요레스 디 저 데킹보든 더욱 라야게 랑킹게 게비시니 요레스 테네 테게 당와데 산지 좀딘 데네 존데 파르마체파 용어게 단라게 밍아 요레스 테네 당가랑 솔라 데르 그 당와다 밍아도 냠스 링야게 담저 그 밀rum보체데 다다 요레스 당가랑 솔은 튠지 망보 요바데 비제데 단 타르통 레브 조보 산제지 공방 라야제 토야 요레스 데다 토바르시발라 데니 베저치 고도 베저치디 다 친디 차당 뭉섬 다 친데 힘바당 던다 마도바이나 데니 산제지 공방 라야데 토야 깔레 카보요바 인상 다 마다바린도 손 손코요바로와 어텐드 ngaranso ki matabari labde chule sinang do che ko yo mare chu matabagom teni gewa drug tanda chepa yina teni chorang la zop sanje chi kompang zone teni thartok alla na me dewa ji thobyan do ta ti lam dan ro go yo re sen thartok te ting yo barwa.
And so all this talk of impermanence is not meant to incite fear. So it's not, it's not to make you fearful. And likewise to contemplate, the horrendous suffering of the lower realms, the fearful states of hell beings and hungry ghosts, and so on. This is not just to be scary, or to incite, to make us scared, but rather knowing, that we have as our very basic essence, present within us is the Buddha nature. We all have possess the Buddha nature, Tathagata. And not only that, but we have met with spiritual teachers who can point out that nature to us, who can indicate the presence of the Buddha nature. And we have many access to many extraordinary teachings and pith instructions. And so if we practice, not only that, but we have a precious human birth with which to practice those instructions. And so there is a means or a vehicle by which we can actually achieve the full fruition of liberation and fully perfected Buddhahood or awakening. And so it's with that understanding that then, with that understanding, when we reflect on the truth of impermanence and the frightening states of the lower realms, then we are motivated not to waste this precious opportunity or to waste our life consumed by the emotions and activities of attachment, aversion, and delusion. And so when we really deeply understand the truth of impermanence and thinking this life is impermanent, I have no time to waste, then we're really inspired, we're really motivated to do what we know is really, truly meaningful to do. And so it's not just, for the sake of inspiring fear, this talk of impermanence, but it's really for the sake of inspiring one to dedicate oneself or to really apply oneself to the path for the purpose of reaching the state of fully liberated, complete enlightenment, in which one can experience unchanging happiness, the unchanging final fruition of fully perfected joy.
Nge pensun che hyo ba yina ama chegla pugu ni yo ba yina tene ama te ke pugu teni la labza kare japare sina ta churani lobjong ya po chi tene lobjong ya po che ba yina tene university la ne tonya yo res tene de university te ton songa yina tene chorani leka ya pura gri tene metsena na yabu yongeri lamne pugeteni la amateka labja jabares tene pugeche de ke tene amate khalani lobjong yabo jang tene tholob la chin tene university la chin lobra ton lega yabora tana yong yoris puge jimba de ke nga tholob sena ha ko mi university lam na ha ko mi nga ndondumi nga lobjong yabo chindumi ji tokumendos tene amak khala ning means tene tama nabuti changtong tene homeless chan tene metsetela tene dongan na sarwa o te pe de nga gzuba enda tin an yinje tene ngarang so pu yaga tin an yinji ya inda pu tene duga tin an yinji ya tene te sosola damga yo barwa tene sanje kene ngarang chola ama te ke pugla labza nangwa na yi nangdo te ngarang chota pug yaga ti na yi chi ta pug duga na yi chi tene sosola nang la do te yim be jim sin ji sanje jum den de ke ngen chula tharp thap tim bes tharpa rang la ra le shibar ji song do tene sosola ra le ke bari
So to give you an example, say there's a mother who has two children, and she instructs, she really, with love for her children, she instructs her children with their best interest in mind. And she instructs them to study well. So she says, you must really dedicate yourselves to study and do well in school so that then you'll get into a good university. And then once you graduate from the university, you'll be able to find good work. You'll get a good job. And so she tells both of her children this. And one of the children really listens to his mother, and he thinks, I'm going to really do my best to study in school. And so really applying himself to his studies, then eventually he graduates from primary and high school, and then he gets into a good university, and then he studies very hard in university, and eventually he graduates and he comes out and he gets a really good job. The other son, on the other hand, thinks, I don't know how to study. I don't know about university. I'm not so interested in all of this. I don't really care. I don't know how to do it. I'm not any good at studying. And so I forget about it. And instead, because he's not so interested, he doesn't apply himself, and instead he starts smoking marijuana and drinking beer or alcohol, and eventually he ends up homeless. And so it's like these two options, these two possibilities. So which one are we going to become? Are we going to become like the first child, the good child, or are we going to become like the bad child? It's actually a choice. It's up to us. It's in our own hands. And just like the Buddha taught, I have shown you the way. All I can do is show you the way, but it is up to you to follow it, to put it into practice.
tene ta taratnima nga tinani ta tawa nima sevate ta legendary la ne yo mare sam tene legendary la yichi mi ba legendary mi parta ta tawa tenda shukchim borida tene legendary yu par ke link yu ne yang tene tela legendary la tene chesu jen tene soso ke 다 tena mambo yung ko yore dara tu nimana na teni nyumong nimala goya te karis na nyumong te pe rakpa shuk chenbo teni ta soso nyumong yimang de hyron de teni ngocha la so ba teni tanrowa o tenda ke ta tuzu Tene nyumong jesa mangbo rwa ta jopam jor top gosa tam hinra mangbo la nyumong jen go yore teso ma tunji ma teso mang rodi. Tene ta karpa nying mas ta karpa nying ma hiba de pena sanji chomdin de ko yong de kapso ngarang chonro ti kapso kong kor nguslom korlo ma ji de yona ta ngarang chong ko lan cham 요즘 말고 대중생 강의 시바에는 희망아做了 Khenpo 지민 분석 세당 Khenpo 지민 분석 공개 가축값 송송 집수 말아래봐 그무스 요데 버값서 나랑서 대근 콜로만도를 지요나 나랑서 다른 코알은 참여 말이스 대리 가랑서 대값서 레다 가와게 콜로마를 제 마타바리 손데 콩페 시엠디아 콩 리저니마게다 라친리 얘네양 콩게다 가주바게 따라 집수 말아래봐게 되네 데이터 셀루질로 오버즈베 상제숨바 드라지 임바다 콩게 공부 요린 친게 요리 데인데 데네 디가는 데나 예리 따라 다타카반도 이나타
공타데 Khenpo kashi che song tene de mila Khenpo de yangchar sungro nang de mila ba nang shin yo ayina tene nga so korwala tar sarwa yore tene DJ la che song ya po song
mari nga so mala re ba ke kor loma la musiki yo na nga ran so mala re loma ina te du te dara nga ran so ko la chang go yo mari so na kong hiem so hiem la na ta nga ran so ngu la ra ngu kong ngu ne ta nan ze so te ne kong ngoma we go na kong ni ma ke la chin ji ri yin ne yang kong ke te ne mala re ba de che lu je la sang je so ba tan ra ke sang je ji yin ba ngu so gong ne te ne kong ke tan ra ke la na me pe te ba hyo ba re wa mala re ba la
So with regard to the 5 degenerations, so first with regard to the degeneration of the view, this is referring to the view of karma cause and effect. So during the period of deterioration or degeneration, then the view which understands or believes, the view of believing in the truth of karma cause and effect diminishes. And so, and we can see that, that during, as times become more and more degenerate, then there is less heedfulness with regard to kind of in a sort of more global way, that there are many who have no regard for karma cause and effect, who act or behave in such a way that indicates that that they don't understand or have any belief in the truth of karma or cause and effect. And secondly, then, is the degeneration or deterioration of afflictive emotions. And so what this is referring to is the fact that as times become more and more degenerate, then the afflictions of sentient beings likewise become more and more coarse and more degraded and more base, and their afflictions become more coarse and more powerful. And that is also evident, many act without any shame, completely motivated by their afflictions, and create all sorts of negativity and harm. Likewise, there are more objects that cause or that can that encourage or cause beings to give rise to coarse afflictive emotions. There's a lot that sort of stimulates desire to achieve great, to acquire material possessions and to become really rich and wealthy and so forth. And so in this way, both the outer objects that encourage or cause, that stimulate the negative emotions increase, and the afflictive emotions themselves among beings also increase as a result. And so then the third is the deterioration of the kind of the fortune or the fortune of beings, or the kind of era of fortune, or really the good fortune of beings, and this is referring to, say, also, for instance, the Buddha. During the time of the Buddha, and his disciples, the fortune of the beings of that time, and because of also the sort of the auspiciousness of the time, was such that all of his followers, so many of his followers, were able to fully manifest the fruition and become free from samsara. So all of those disciples of the Buddha are no longer wandering in samsara. Likewise, Khenpo Jigme Phuntsok from Serta, also one time he actually started weeping when he was talking about this, and he said, had we had the fortune to be born during the time of Milarepa, or to be a disciple of Milarepa, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be wandering anymore in samsara. And he also acknowledged that, even though he himself was a Nyingma master, a great Nyingma master, he sort of spoke with so much faith about the blessings of the Kagyu lineage, which have the power to bring one to full liberty, or for anyone to achieve Buddhahood in a single lifetime, in a single body, just as Milarepa demonstrated, and the students of Milarepa. And so as he was speaking in this way, one could see just how deep and unsurpassed his faith and devotion to Milarepa was.
Tene tunyima hibate Jatang aranzo dula kangea yomare. Guru Rinpoche ke dunam munjur manam jirwa yin sonre. Then the tang aranzo mug samno dinjurne. Samno de kanavin jurndoko yoresina. Ta tang aranzo ha kogri. Jigla chado, jigla rinsem. Then jigla nujia, samno ngimban chanya. Tendra pe shukcher roho yore. Then tendra latine nangke samno kulhong de dukja chandu telatin teni shikin jongwa la soba shik kam tam je yang teni ta mambo je de jin parchi mambo je yong kare che sayam tang gucha mambo yongwa tam je me nang sen ke samno kulhong de pe joren ro doren ro samno de ngir ro de Tati jumsela tenetini ngaransola chin parche de mang ro ya de jumsin tendu ta kantar chi simchin hing ma ro chi cha de yorwa tene kawa zambu tu so ma cha ma la samno zambu kulong zambu tene le jumde sine meng kwa zam che tene le jumde la che tepa ichi chi tunga ichi chi tungkin landor chi tungki tena cha ko yorita taru tu chuna na tene cha ma chi danzin chiran ro Tani Dana Yingache, Legend la soba, Landroke, Hakoya, Hirap the Chunrova la soba, Del Junsin de Sola Tin, the Dala Tin de, teni pinchun nu jiba teni majik lega yabote sa leka yuna teni te mantin ya ke taphi mambo ji teni majik te sa yabo yoba na tela yang cho yinda ne junju ji te kandawe na yabo mahin ba ji zogondo sam kai hetan ran da den so so ge ji da rup da zhen ta zo le bai hyok qing bo xin go ji cha ba chang jin qing bo ji dang ji qing bo ji de le din ne de ni da den da ge din de ni de tar to de so so rang zo che de bang nga yi ba de zo che de ba o de la to de yu de da den da ge dang ji zo hyok che ren ro ge yu ba de jun sin le de ne tu ni ma la wen ge yu re ma do ge tu ko rang la tu ya za dang ni la ne ka nge sa je yo ma re
Gong ta chenang kashi sung yore yapo koma song kana de jema la mambo yapo sung song yinirang nga sama kotu ma song de pena me teza yapo yuna deni kongso kare mar baya ki tachi chigure we kare de mambo sung song de yangchar sung tu sare la
ta ma chi ke le ga ya bon do chi ke yo na tene te le ga te yang la nu ja la na ko ra tene
ha ko me
ta ma chi ke le ga ro yin la phin ya ke le ga chi le ke yo na tene te la cha do chi ka yin sna ko la yang mo ma bo ga ro ro wa ti jim jing ke te na ko la yang ma te ke chu de pa ju ma yin ba la teni yamuna mate ke semhyok ma cha ji teni yamuna ko mate la chi cho yim da ni ko nu ji ya da tanda de ma tanda ma bo chi ke yo ro
that's so then when also then there's the deterioration or degeneration of the time, and Guru Rinpoche said it is not that the time degenerates or that the time itself that is changing, but it is the attitude of beings that is changing. Or that changes or deteriorates. And so, and we see this, for instance, the attitudes of beings become, more and more coarse and self-centered and kind of more. There's a lot of jealousy. People feel are easily jealous of one another. There's a very strong increase in competitiveness, attitudes of competitiveness, and harmful intent. And so this is because of this is largely also due to the degeneration of the times. And so it is as the times become more and more degenerate, then also the intentions of beings become more perverse or more sort of base, coarse and unrefined. And so likewise, because of these attitudes of beings, or because of the degeneration of the attitudes, then this affects the constitutions of both, like the physical constitutions and outer conditions, and as a result, there are greater and greater obstacles and more natural disasters such as earthquakes and so forth. And as the intentions become more and more negative, then the negative outer conditions and obstacles likewise become more and more negative or unfortunate. And so this is how kind of the deterioration of, with regard to like the a fortunate time diminishes, and the period or the time becomes more and more sort of all perverse in an all pervasive kind of way. And during the fortunate times, or during, say, closer to the time of the Buddha, for instance, then it was very kind of natural for the beings of that time to have good intentions, to have good and pure intentions. And they would hear about karma, cause, and effect, and immediately they would have faith and confidence and cause and effect, or the truth of karma. They easily understood what to adopt and what to discard. And in general, the activities of beings were of a more virtuous nature. But now we see, the attitudes of self-clinging run rampant. And there's just greater and greater expressions of this self-clinging everywhere. And the wisdom of beings has declined, and people do not so easily understand proper conduct. They don't so easily understand what should be adopted, and what to adopt and what to discard. And people harm one another to a greater and coarser and so sort of more and more. This harm becomes more and more pervasive and more coarse, and we see, even in among those who are sort of even relatively trying to maintain, a proper conduct and good intentions, there's still just this inclination to tear one another down. So if somebody does something good, then immediately the response is to criticize that person or to find fault in them. There's so much sort of self-centeredness that this really just increases jealousy, so that people can't even rejoice in the actions of one another. So if somebody is doing good things, if they're doing work that benefits others, then the response to that is generally criticism or jealousy, and then they have to find some fault. One has to find some fault or what's wrong with that person, and then to talk about that person's faults with other people. And so everybody's always, spending sort of really has these underlying objectives to really bring one another down, to tear one another down, with the objective of, being superior, with oneself being superior. And so this is a reflection of the times, of the fault of also this these degenerate times.
Te labdu yang tatat so lama chama dukjare te labko yomare tanda ko alangna non roko yore yang sanje yo de bakap so mat chama jacha jan jala yapori te labko yomare perna sanje khurang ke punja tanda nalo la yang tene samnon ramada kulhong ramada jim yorwal ngarang so lojina sanje ke namthana na yorwa ngarang chame ha ko yore Tata Kutsuna Nam Chanchuk Samba Tene Mejiwa Landeva Tata Samja Machaba Yapo Yore Yinayang Tangaranso Te Tachik the Taritutsuk Matsama Dukjari Samnotsama Dukjari Te Labia Yomari Then the Countayang Sosu Sosola Semla Churtane Samno Nangla Corne Teni Sosuk Samno Tela Teni Sungjabjin Da Take Karechikindo Kandarindo Teni Sosu Sosola Hako Yori Ten the Tatarangaranzo Terem Mataba con Hiepari Mataba Tela Hien the Lodo the Lodo Layate Tam Ko La Himba the Chapa Tel Lodo Goyora Tijunsinke Lodo Dan Lagoya Junsinteri Then the Namya Jun the Mataba Yangse Semla Tin Tata Tini Drajin, Tangarang to Matabala, Lord Jang Tana, Lord Comtabaina, Tene Sanji Jumdin Deang, Tambo Lamla Hudu, Matapa Lamni Hubaru, Tashikanga, Hubanai. Tara Alama Gavishini Yinda, Sandra Yamni Nanki, Samake, Tene Tomar Che Hundo, Tomar Che Hundo Tela, Tene Mario Tomar Hundo Tela, Lodon Gini, Zonden Gotzone, Tene Lambda Hyone, Yamni Nan Yokubari, Tela Jumsi Chimbo Yobari, Ten Sama Keta Mataba de Jumsi, some not tongue with Tony, Ten Mataba the Gongo Yori, Jedang, Ngaransoke, Gon Gina Yunkerite, Tene Che Da. Mataba to Zola Sono Town, Tini, Rapa Mataba, Travel Mataba, Travel Mataba La Dutarangaran, so Kechik La Jinga Jindo Hoyoba, Kejang goes on joke, Matsar Pardo yet, Tarong around some Kejik in Jorando Watela, Mataba La Kuyoroa. Tini Chirtang, Katang around Solace, Takpari, Samia Kitin, Zimbabwe, Chazokulo, Tike, Tadum Davodio, Marina Sola. Kainsin ngarang so sanje ke jinjo indu sanje ke duje tanje mata pa song ya du tene ngarang so takpa ingo mechen de takpa ri tanda sam ke sam tadum da wot ngarang so yo mare yin yan duhi de yore duhi de tadum de ni tes manda rewa duhi de kare resina
di yabok komasong kom sanje yang char heset de Sanjay Dushi Sangma Metapa, Tinitine.
Sanjay can do jet sama matabari song yore, they do around so do jet tamje tapari, Samuel can around so tadrup the yomari, the tawa the yomari. Kains and around so Sanji Jinjo, yin te Sanjay ke the song yozam, around so do jet tanje mataba, some yore. Yin yang around so duhi yoran duhi. Te Tenzin can do hit a pay hook boy, courage and Chiorisina Pena not Tarangan do the method dalde. Oh, Tanank method, the Taron Talando, some not in Dongal. Te Tanziri Teni Tegana Yinke Ta tela soba ke pen ngaran suchi khatsan kinga ke hirap nimbu ka suchi pe ji hubai ngaran so ke chuo ji par garden chimba ina chuo de pa gar chadu yang chuo de ni challa yong bu kapsu ngaran so ke ta hi chuo de jikpa jikjang ri samdo yorwa chuo de ngomen kaka ri ngaran so dambo pan ro bu kapsu chuo de ma po charwa Choten Rotsarwa, in a around to Tsayung Bugapso, Chot Sabari, Chote Maibari, around to Tahi Chottery, some of this, the Nakasan around to Senala. They talk back and hit around to Yoderwa. Didn't hit the door matter, but they see to the Mataba Yang Taba Julia Jagona Kalekabo Yozan, or didn't hit around to Tarado to Goyore. Devena, Lodonam years, Zondu, Lodoland and don't dare. Thing around to ta.
So this isn't to say that, it's sort of always the case that, that everyone during these degenerate times is bad, or that, it's always, that it's all, that it's a kind of an inescapable across the board situation regarding deterioration, that everyone expresses these degenerate attributes. No, that isn't the case. Likewise, it's not the case that during the time of the Buddha, that everyone was completely pure, that there weren't, beings during that time who were particularly degenerate, because there certainly were. So, for instance, even in the Buddha's life story, there are examples of this, with regard to, for instance, his cousin Devadatta. So you all know the story, and can, in reading the life story of the Buddha, then we can see, that he was very afflicted and motivated by very negative intentions. And so there were plenty during fortunate periods, during more favorable periods, such as during the time of the Buddha, who were also very degenerate in nature, who had very negative intentions. And likewise now, there are also many great beings who appear and continue, who have appeared and will continue to appear. There are bodhisattvas, great bodhisattvas who have taken birth, who are inconceivably immense in their virtue and benefit. So it isn't 100%, that everything sort of falls into this category of degeneration during as times become, or as the Kali Yuga progresses further and further, as times become more and more degenerate. But what we can do with this understanding is really just do what can be done with regard to one's own mind. So turning one's own mind inward, looking within, and really noticing how these degenerate attitudes might arise in our own mind stream, being truthful or honest with oneself, and really knowing what is occurring or what is arising in one's own mind, and doing one's best to protect oneself, from those negative influences and intentions. And so this is actually what's meant when we speak of the thoughts that turn the mind. So, for instance, in contemplating impermanence, as a way to turn the mind, this is what is being referred to as this turning within, looking within. And this is the reason for using this term. And this is the purpose of the reflections or contemplations, is to cause this type of turning the mind within, and away from outer pursuits. And so by reflecting on the truth of impermanence again and again, then we will really deepen in our level of understanding of impermanence. We will really develop a profound level of understanding as it was expressed, as this truth of impermanence, this understanding of the truth of impermanence was expressed by the Buddha himself. And so it isn't that we don't understand impermanence on in a basic way. We all accept the truth of impermanence, but to really understand the truth of impermanence in the way that the Buddha explained or intended, this we have yet to develop. And so for that reason, all of the great masters, all of our spiritual teachers explain that it's necessary in the beginning, to really spend some time cultivating the first four thoughts that turn the mind. So when one, for instance, goes into retreat, then it's necessary first to do the preliminary practices. And the first of these preliminary practices are the reflections upon the four thoughts that turn the mind. And in meditating on the second of the four thoughts, the truth of impermanence, There are the two categories of impermanence. There's the coarse level or gross manifestations of impermanence, and then there are the more subtle manifestations of impermanence, the more difficult to perceive workings of, the more difficult to perceive aspects of impermanence, which are referring to, or what this is referring to, what was mentioned earlier, which is this momentary, moment by moment expression of impermanence, this constant unfolding of transformation and change, which is expressed in all aspects of phenomena, which is this change is occurring all the time with in all levels of, and all manifest phenomena are displaying this moment by moment process of transformation, ongoing transformation and change. But we don't recognize that. It's very difficult to see that. And because of that, we have this fixation to impermanence. We think that things are permanent and lasting. We have this fixation to true existence and permanently abiding phenomena. But it isn't. So it isn't that on a course level we think that things are permanent, because we do understand impermanence, but again, we don't have this this really refined, subtle level understanding of impermanence that is pervasive and ongoing at all times, which is what the perception of impermanence that the Buddha was speaking of. This view is what is really lacking. But because of our habit to grasp at things as holding some level of permanent, identityhood or identityness, then this fixation, this tendency to fixate in this way is very, very strong. And so, for instance, when we see a flower, and then we see that flower a few moments later, or maybe even a few hours later, or maybe even a day later, we think it's the same flower. And we say, oh, there's that flower I saw before. But that flower has already undergone a tremendous amount of changes. But those changes are not recognized or seen because of this habit of a fixation to permanence. And so also Khenpo said when he gave teachings, for instance, on the Heart Sutra, and he mentioned that when, for instance, if we cross a river, and then if maybe we're on a walk or a hike and we cross a river, and then we return and we cross going back the other way, and we tend to think, oh, this is the same river I crossed before, and there's this view of it being the same river. But it's a completely different river, because all of that water that was flowing as one crossed the first time is completely different water from the water that is now flowing and passing very quickly. And so there's not this view, there's not this ability to perceive this momentary change in a very in a really refined, or really developed way, where we really see the impermanence of all the things around us, understanding, for instance, in the case of the river, that it is a new river than, a different river from the one that one passed before, earlier. And the reason for that is because of this perception that views things, the habit of viewing things as permanent. And so in order to reverse this habit of this perception, or this perception that views things in this sort of fixed or permanent way, then we really have to spend some time meditating upon or contemplating the truth of impermanence. That is an opportunity, a really profound meditation or contemplation, which can really help to generate a direct experience in which we can perceive or view the momentary transformation of all that appears and exists, the impermanence of all things. And it's for this reason, that we contemplate the truth of impermanence when we contemplate the four thoughts that turn the mind. That's all. So now we can take a break, and we can come back at 11, if you're at 11. So I guess for those of us on the East Coast, then that would be 2 o'clock.
Deda gunje jizo dalo je yewan da tam je rab de ngo